These two things are what started everything for me. When I was 11 years old, I only got into cars because there was a dealership down in my area called Symbolic Motors that only sold exotic cars. Now, although I didn't really know anything about cars, I did know everything about the Murcielago. I knew its engine, I knew its doors went up, I knew its quarter mile, I knew its top speed, I knew every factual thing you could know about this car. So much to the fact that one year I got this for Christmas. The exact Murcielago that I would stare at whenever I would go to Symbolic Motors down in La Jolla. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but those memories I was making with exotics, going and taking pictures and seeing the cars in person and just knowing facts about them and thinking I was cool, well, those memories would change my life forever. I started making silly YouTube videos about cars once I finally turned 16 and got my license. Although I didn't know anything about cars, I knew I enjoyed looking at them and I knew I enjoyed making videos. One day I told myself that eventually, I would own the same Murcielago that I once stared at all these years. As I got older, I realized maybe I didn't want something quite this sold, but I would want something that could be as close as physically possible to this car. That pretty much made it all for me. And today, we're gonna go get that car. Since I was a young kid, I've been coming to this dealership to look at cars and just drool at them, take pictures of them, literally just like dream about cars. Not too long ago, I decided it was time to make my childhood dream come true. Every year on my birthday, I buy myself a fun toy. When I turned 22, I bought myself a GTR. Last year, I bought ourselves a 458. And well, this year, I decided to get us the most recent version of the Murcielago. So it's actually Christmas Eve right now, and they're actually closing up the dealership. So I appreciate them giving me an extra couple minutes here to film this video. We just finished signing all the paperwork for this car. This car has been in my room since I was like literally 8, 9 years old playing with it. And as I got older and I started to touch the exotics and had the opportunity to drive a few of them and kind of got to see what that was all about. As you guys know, I've kind of fallen in love with like modern stuff. I like modern technology. I'm not the biggest fan of older cars, which is why I decided right now going for a Murcielago isn't what I want to do, but I do know that I love more modern tech, and there's only one car that you can associate Murcielago with, and that is its bigger brother, the Aventador. From going in my room as a kid to always dreaming of owning this car, I welcome you, the new supercar on the channel, the new 2012 Aventador. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and walk around this car just a little bit. I kind of wanted to give you guys a little backstory because I've been thinking about this purchase for so long now. Go ahead and take off that sold sign. That looks good on that car though. You know what, I'm gonna keep that. But I've been looking at getting an Aventador for so long now, and if you guys have noticed, bits and pieces in the past, you've heard me talk about one day I will own this car, but this is like the one car that is like just always been a little too far out of my comfort zone as something that I wanna buy. After our last year when we did the 458 and we just sold it, we were finally in the opportunity where getting an Aventador was something that was kind of possible, and well, as some of you guys guessed it, we went ahead and went with an Aventador. Now, fun fact, last year when Stradman bought his Aventador, which was actually an OC, not even that far from here, he bought his for $240,000, and he said, hey, this is the cheapest Lamborghini Aventador in the US that isn't crashed. Well, Strad, I have to say, I think I accidentally just beat your own record because I got mine for $225,000. Now I know that is a lot, but in the Aventador world, this is actually the cheapest one on the market. That being said, I have the door open. Let's go ahead, sit inside, and take a closer look. Oh man, oh, it is not the easiest car to get into, but that's honestly one of the coolest things about this car. So we have a black interior, black leather with yellow stitching, and we even have the carbon option in the car. So we have the carbon on the front console, and we even have carbon on the door sills. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I've wanted this car for so long, and the fact that we're actually sitting in it and it's ours is a weird thing to fathom, all things considered. So this car has 5,000 miles on it. For those who are well versed in the Aventador world, 2012 was the first year they were produced, and they still, as in 2019, are still being produced, as there's a 2019 right there. 2012, there was some issues with some transmissions being kind of funky and them getting to be replaced. If you're replacing a transmission in this car, it's about $15,000. Well, this car has its full service history. It's been driven. It hasn't just been sitting forever. And they just did a full major flush on the car, and they said everything looks good, and there's 86% left on the single clutch. So I rolled the dice, boys. I said, hey, that's good enough for me. Let's take this home. And then, you know, you just got the glorious. I don't know how to do it yet. I'm still learning, boys. I'm still, ooh. Oh, it's so good. That's something I feel like I could do all day long. And shout out to Travis, because a couple days ago I came here with, oh my God, that's amazing. Travis and I did a little test drive, and we got to go drive around a little bit. We kind of decided this was the right move, and he kind of helped sold me on it. And shout out to Peter as well. Hi. Cool. Now, it would have been even better if the car had the silver wheels, but honestly, the black wheels look better. But I don't think that they were doing black wheels back in 2000, like what, 2, when that car was being produced. But that is such a cool picture. I'm not back till the 3rd. Ooh, gotta get them doors up. Yeah. I just got permission because no one's here, and like I told you guys, they are technically closed. They said we could start it. It is a stock exhaust, but it is a V12, so it does sound amazing. I'm not gonna blow the speakers out too much, so we'll go ahead and we'll start it over here. Well, we even have the carbon on the top of the motor as well. Desperately needs an exhaust. We're just sitting here with the doors up, boys. We got the wings flying. Do you call them wings? Do you call them doors? I don't know what the exact term is to call them, because I'm a brand new Lamborghini Aventador owner, but we're getting there. That needs an exhaust so bad. It almost sounds like a Prius that's breathing just a little bit too hard. So now for the sad part of this video is we are not taking the car home today. There are a few more things that have to get fixed on the car. They're gonna go ahead and do a full cut and polish on the car. They're gonna make it look nice and good. So we're actually not taking it home today. And today is Christmas Eve, which means tomorrow is Christmas, which means they are closed on Christmas, which means probably not until the 26th, 27th. By the time you guys see this video, I don't know when that will be, but we're actually gonna be leaving today without the car. I know that pains me so bad, so I don't want to hear it, because trust me, I'm dying on the inside. But we are actually going to be leaving today without the Aventador. We need to start thinking of a name for it, because I don't know what I want to name it yet. I almost kind of want to just nickname it the Mercy, because like in spirit, it's my Mercy that's been sitting on the floor in my room since I was like 9 years old. Let me know what you guys think. But we're going to be leaving without it today, and then it's probably going to be delivered to us. We might just come and pick it up here when it's ready the next few days. But oh my God, can you just look at that? Would you just look at it? I can't believe that this is actually our car. Like, what? What? We need to get an exhaust on this thing literally as soon as possible. And as much as I love the yellow, I can't tell you guys that I'll be keeping it yellow. Now, I do quickly want to point out the fact that I was looking at getting a Roadster. And if you talk to any of my friends, before I decided on getting the coupe, I was really set on getting a Roadster, because how badass is taking the roof off in California. When I sat inside, and I'm sure this car is locked, but when I sat inside, the front seats, and for those who have sat in a Roadster versus a coupe, you will agree with me on this, it just fits different. You sit a little higher up, there's not as much headspace, and it kind of sits more front and forward and doesn't feel like it's loungy as like the coupe does. And I decided that, I don't know, when I sat in the Roadster, I was dead set on the Roadster. I was gonna pay the price difference, I was okay with that. But when I sat in the Roadster versus sitting in the coupe just felt like me. Oh, I'm coming back. I can't believe this is our car. I'm trying to keep my cool in here, and I'm having a really hard time doing that. And one of the saddest things about this car is there's no cup holders, boys. We have no cup holders in this car, so how are we gonna go to Starbucks in the morning and get a drink? I don't know. Do I just hold it? Do I just not get Starbucks? One simply does not just get Starbucks in the morning. I'm not quite sure, but I'm a little upset about that. I also feel the need to address one of the other cars that you guys seem to think that I was gonna buy, but I ended up not. But I do wanna say I did test drive it. I have been thinking about it, and that is a McLaren 720. And I've also been looking at the 600, which is a 570, And honestly, boys, shout out to Vehicle Conversions. This color is amazing in person. When I drove the 720, and this is one of those things that it's gonna sound really stupid when I say it, but if you guys ever have the opportunity to drive it, I think you'll understand and you'll agree with me. These cars drive so perfectly. Like they're like a designed, rated like an F1 car that this is the fastest track car and nothing will beat it, and it feels amazingly fast. But when it comes to the street, and who knows, maybe I'll still own one one day, I don't know. When it comes to the street, they're just not that exciting to drive. It's almost like a little bit characterless, in my opinion, and that's such a weird thing to complain about. Like, it's too perfect of a car, it's just not exciting. Now, if I was on a track and I was trying to make the fastest lap, 100% McLaren any day. But the Aventador, and same with the 458, the all-NA, the thing screams, and the Aventador is very charismatic when you shift it. It's definitely a car that's harder to drive every day than the McLaren. I agree with that, but I just have such a more enjoyable driving experience behind the wheel of the Aventador than I do behind the 720. The 720 is faster. The 720, you can get the roof down for cheaper. The 720 is the same price. Literally, you can get a used 720 for the same price as a used Aventador. Trust me, I understand that. I just didn't enjoy the car as much as I did when I drove the Aventador. That's just straight facts. And for those who have driven them back to back, you know what I'm talking about. So this year, for my 25th birthday, I decided to make my 10-year-old self extremely happy and finally purchase a V12 Lamborghini. Now it hurts to be walking away right now, boys, it really does, but we'll have her soon. She needs to get a little more love and take advantage of those dealership advantages that they give when you buy a car from them. But major shout out to Ogara. I wish I had a vlog camera when I was like 9 years old, because I literally have been coming to this dealership for over a decade now as a kid. And in a weird way, it's kind of like a full circle moment of coming and purchasing a car from this dealership and actually taking it home. And that's what's gnarly, is somehow in life, when you do things based on the love and passion of something, based on things like, oh, it will make me lots of money, or oh, it's the safer route. When you take those risks for doing the things that you love, even though they might be different, they always end up working out somehow. And if this video isn't proof of that, then I don't know what is.